This is Impact Series on Expose TV, and if you're just joining us, Impact Series, our motivation talk, which is a series on Expose TV where we just want to talk about real life situations. We don't buttercoat, we don't sugarcoat, we just say it as it is. And today on the program, we're going to be taking something that is very relevant in today's homes. That is what? Be your child's greatest cheerleader, not their critic. Now, this has to come on board on the show today because, of course, in a lot of homes, we find that a lot of children go through their parents cheering them down. And what this does is that rather than build their confidence, every day speaking to them negatively tears down that part of them that makes them able to face the world and all of its challenges. You find some parents, just in the bid to correct their children, begin to use derogatory languages on the children, words that should never be used. I've heard a parent tell the child, "I wish you were never born." How can you tell your child, "I wish you were never born"? Saying that, what are you doing to the child? Making the child regret that I even exist, making the child believe that I don't even deserve to be here if my mother or my father feel this way about me. Now, we have some parents as well who tell their children, "You can never amount to anything," and then they keep cursing these children when you're stupid. I'm sorry, I hope YouTube, Facebook, you don't flag me down for saying these words, but these are the kind of words that some parents tell their children every day, and what it does is tear down that child's morale. Today we want to say enough of those words. If you were told those words as a parent, you don't have to pass it down to your children. You can control your emotions. I remember back then when I was growing up, there were some things that also happened to me as well, and I told myself, when I become a mother, I would separate myself from those things, even though I had great parents, but of course nobody is perfect, but I told myself I would separate myself from those things so that when I become a mother, I can use words that affirm my children and make them feel better about themselves. Now, the truth about it is that you also have some parents who go around reporting their children from this family to that family. They just go around, "Hey, my son is this. Oh, my daughter is this. Oh, my son is a never do good. Oh, my daughter is like this. Oh, my daughter goes around doing this." Hey, some even go as far as telling their friends, "Do not move with this child. This child is this. This child is bad. She'll be a bad influence onto you, your own child," thinking you are doing that child a favor. No. Some also go as far as cutting the dreams and the aspirations of the children down. When the children want to aspire to do something, so say for instance they see somebody to help them, maybe travel abroad or something, they get scared and say, "You're not going to go, you're not nobody, the person wants to put drugs on you." Yes, we know that we live in a world that is evil, but if you feel that that person is dangerous for your child, then you could monitor that person for a while, but do not cut the destiny of that child short. We have a lot of things that happen to children that should not happen to them, and then of course what this does is that it mentally retards them because they now begin to see themselves in the line of that box. To fight against all of that is a struggle. To fight against the words that have been told to you all your life when you were a child is a struggle. It also goes into adulthood with them because those words begin to go with them. It begins to sing in their memory. And then some even find, you find a mother telling her child, "I don't want you to get married yet," or a son, "I don't want you to get married yet." Why? Because I'm going through this. Or how can you say you are going through something, you don't want me to get married because you are going through something? You are going through it. I'm not going through it. I have my life to live. Yes, you are my mother. Why? We love our parents. We love our fathers and our mothers. We know that they are the backbone to which we're standing. The truth about it is that your own experience or what you may be going through does not determine my own experience and what I should go through. I should learn from your own experience to become a better person. I should not use your own experience to retard my own experience and then retard my life growth just because you are going through just because some things happen to you doesn't mean they have to happen to me. I find somebody I was talking to a while ago said that he was addicted to pornography, and he told me that I saw my father watching it. My father would litter the room with pornography tapes, and because of that, whenever I entered the room, I would see all these pornography tapes. Until today, guess what? The person is addicted to pornography. That's the truth. He doesn't even know how to break free. That's the honest truth. So we must be very careful what we do around children, especially when they're young. And for those of you who stay in apartments, where you stay in the apartment with your children and you are not able to control yourself, and in front of the children you begin to do things you're not supposed to do. No, because the kids are watching. If you love them, you protect them. If you love them, you make sure they have a future that frees them away from everything that binds them or holds them back. So what all this does is that, of course, as you talk every day negatively to children, wounds are created, self-esteem is shattered, goals are defeated, confidence in oneself is diminished, and of course the child ends up being confused because she has all of these negative things, or he has all of these negative things that has been told to him throughout the course of his childhood. Breaking away from it is hard, because how do you break away from something that you've heard every day? How do you break away from it? You begin to wonder. Anyway, the show continues in a moment. We'll tell you how to break away from all the negative words that has been spoken to you. And if you're a parent, we'll tell you what to do as well. The program, of course, is Impact Series on Expose TV. Don't go nowhere. When we come back, we'll tell you what to do. See you soon.
Expose began as a television program sharing stories, spotlighting brands, and connecting with audiences. Over the years, we've had the privilege of partnering with brands like Fanta, MTN, Happy, Jake, Always, Pepsi, Bailey's Irish Cream, Nokia, Close Up, and many more through the agencies that gave us these brands to showcase on our programs. Today, Expose has evolved with new energy, fresh ideas, and bold storytelling. The new Expose transcends from a TV program to a media network with various programs. We are ready to partner with your brand. Contact us today or follow us on all our social media handles. We are on Facebook and YouTube at Expose TV, on Instagram at Expose_.
Welcome back. And this is Impact Series on Expose TV, where we tell you, or we converse together on how, of course, to be today's episode, be your child's greatest cheerleader and not their greatest critic. So what you can do is, of course, rather than talking down on that child, yes, we know that children are not perfect. Children make mistakes. Children annoy sometimes. Children do the things they're not supposed to do sometimes. Children need correction sometimes. Hey, that's why they're kids. That's why they're growing up. That's why they are going from one process to the other. So what you want to do is to make sure that the process of growing up is not a hellish nightmare for them. Make sure that you groom them in an environment that helps their mind to grow, helps them to feel comfortable around them. Some children don't even like going home because they know that when they go home, they're going to be told words that they should not hear. At that point, they don't even know that they are being told words that they should not hear. At that point, they're just confused that whenever I go home, it's always like it's so tense. Everywhere is tense. They're just talking down on me. They're just beating me. They're just doing things that they shouldn't do to me. So you see, when you see that your child is having some form of challenge or the other, rather than always talk down on that child or attack that child like some parents do, which is very wrong, what you can do is use reverse psychology. If the child doesn't like to work, then you could encourage the child by giving them some things to encourage them. Okay, if you do this, I'd let you watch this an extra hour. If you do so, at that point, you must learn to negotiate with that child. Not negotiate that the child knows that until I do this before you give me if I do this, you get it. But let the child know that if you do this, there are some things that you can get, not all the time, but it helps the child, just encourages the child to want to do those things better. Now, if your child is also failing in grades in school, rather than talking down on the child and say you don't know anything, your mates are doing better than you, find out what is making this child not do so well in school. find out, is it the teacher that is taking the child? If it's the teacher that is taking the child, you could speak to the teacher. If you notice that there is no improvement, you get a home lesson teacher or an after school teacher, under making sure that, of course, you've done your due diligence to find out that this person that you're going to be leaving your child in that care is someone you can trust a bit. Of course, you do your background check on the person as well before you entrust your child to that person. So you now help the child with the home lesson teacher. If you find out that the child is still not doing well, you find out, ask the home lesson teacher, what qualities does this child exhibit? Is the child concentrating? If he's not concentrating, at what point does the child begin to lose concentration? You must do your due diligence in making sure that you help that child overcome what it is that is limiting that child in school. Now, if it's, of course, that the child is just wild and wants to play and wants to break things, then you must control the child. Immediately you see that that child starts to exhibit those tendencies, because some parents wait until, I went to a friend's house recently and I saw that the child was used to pulling down things. No, the first day the child starts to pull down things, you correct that child. The second day he pulls it down, you correct it. You do not leave it and say, oh, it's just a child, he doesn't know anything. He knows something. He's waiting for your reaction. He's waiting to see how you react. And if you do not react on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth day, it becomes his personality. He now thinks that if I do this, after all, nobody is going to care. Sometimes it's also the child crying for attention. Sometimes the child wants something from you that you're not giving. So you need to pay attention to, what is this child saying? Why are they doing this? What happens before that child does this? And then you now identify a pattern that leads to that behavior, and you're able to, of course, correct the child. So what you want to do is always correct in love. Basically, that is it. You correct in love, you encourage the child, you, of course, do not talk down on the child, you be the child's friend. You see children that do not even want, teenagers, not just children now, teenagers that do not want to stay at home. Everywhere is good but home. Why is everywhere good but home? Because there is no enabling environment to make them want to stay. Find out what your children like. Make them stay by making sure your environment enables them to stay at home. Making sure that the environment is not tense, because no child, no teenager likes to stay in a place where they are just shouting and talking and saying all bad things. You see children wanting to escape from the house just because they do not have peace at home. And again, a lot of parents must begin to respect your child's independence. You do not say because he's a child he cannot think. You teach him to think from an early age. If the child is 4, you teach him to think. If she's, or if it's a woman, if it's a girl rather, you teach her to think. You teach her to make decisions. You guide her. After guiding her, you leave her. See the decisions she's going to make or he is going to make, and then tell him the implications of each decision. You must be your child's mentor. You must be your child's motivational speaker. You must be your child's, every day they hear you talking, you're your child's guardian. You cannot just say, I go out and then I leave the children to themselves, and whatever happens to them is okay. No. If you do that, you are breeding where you would regret later. So you cannot leave children by themselves. You cannot leave children to come up with their own decisions. You cannot leave children to come up with their own lifestyle. No, you are there as a parent to guide them at all times. So once you can do all of this, believe me, you have succeeded in 2 things. You are the child's friend. The child can come to you in confidence, knowing that my parents will listen to me. They will not judge, but they will listen to me. That way, if the child is able to come to you, you have a balanced child. And what have you done? You have enabled yourself to be your child's greatest cheerleader, not their critic. It's Expose TV, and of course is our Impact series. The program today has been Be Your Child's Greatest Cheerleader, not their critic. My name is Lola Oduba. It's a great thing to bring this to you on Impact Series every week. Of course, you can reach out to us if you are that child, that teenager who has gone through anything or who is going through it presently. Reach out to us on Instagram at expose_TV, on YouTube and Facebook at expose TV, and on TikTok at this is expose TV. Parents, let's make the house a lovely one for our kids. And kids, be the support your parents need. And kids, be the support your parents need, because sometimes it can be hard being a parent as well. All right, till next time, see you again on Impact Series. My name is Lola Oduba. Be good.